Just because you acquire a clinic does not mean you have to live with their core values or their terrible attitudes. You go in there and you set your core values, you set the tone, you set how it is for your company as a whole, and they will get it. So this is a really great question I got over the weekend while I was speaking at a BTL event, and it was, how do you know that you're ready to expand to new locations? And one of the biggest things that we I felt did wrong was expand too quickly across multiple states. So if we wanted to do it again, and Brent and I have talked about this multiple times, instead of expanding across the country, we would expand within the state or the city that we were in over and over and over again until we were absolutely saturated in that market. With clinic number one, we would just grow it to a point where, hey, we can't grow anymore, and then go build a second clinic. When it comes to really the size that you want to get to, some people want to build mega clinics. And what I mean by that is they're doing like $5 to $10 million a single clinic. Now, that's all well and good. However, the problem with that is you're going to have a lot of staff in one area. You can't create little pockets. If you have issues with staff, usually it's going to permeate the entire staff. It's just a headache, and it's not something that we wanted to do. Other clinics they might want to, is just nothing that we wanted to get into in terms of moving quickly. So we kept our clinics small, really five to at most 7 to 8 employees per location, keeping our square footage small as well. When it came time to open a new location, there was a couple different caveats to it. Number one of the big mistakes I see other clinic owners make is they have a bunch of patients coming from, let's say, the next city over, and they think, well, if I build a clinic there, well, we're going to get all those patients. We're going to make all that money. Well, no, not if those patients are already coming to your original clinic. What's going to happen is you build a second clinic there. They're going to go to their local clinic. And this clinic over here that originally had all those patients, guess what? It's going to lose all those patients and all that income. So when patients or when clients, I would say, build a second clinic, what I always tell them is go to an area that's far enough away that you have patients. People want to be there. Clients will want to come and get your services, but it's too far away for them to drive to the clinic that you're at now. So you want to go in an area that is too far to drive to your first location. That's how we choose kind of the second location. The second location is also based off of the neighborhoods. Do you have higher end people who can pay cash? Because that's what we're talking about, pay cash for your services. Do they want to pay cash for services? Do they have like a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or a Lifetime Fitness? All businesses that do a lot of local demographics testing, because they know, hey, if I put a Lifetime here or a Sprouts here or a Whole Foods here, the likelihood of it being successful is very, very high. So that way, we just follow those areas. We also follow where the competition is. Is there a bunch of competition in this one area? We don't shy away from that because we know we can outmarket our competition in those areas. And as a result, we'll go right in the middle of them because we know that this area specifically with five different med spas has enough patient population and enough money to actually afford to keep five different med spas alive. So if we drop ours right in the middle of those five, we outmarket those five, then we take all of their patients because we have higher customer service, higher value products, then we know we're going to win. So don't shy away from any type of competition when it comes to that. Our rule for expansion, whether we open an extra day at the clinic, hire extra people, etc., is when we have really a wait list for a treatment of about 4 to 6 weeks. If a single treatment, a single person, a single clinic has a wait list where they cannot get in for 4 to 6 weeks, that's when we need to expand a day, expand to a second location, etc. There isn't a certain amount in the bank account that we say, hey, let's expand to another location. It all is based off of feeling. The question that I had this weekend is if I feel that I have everything I want, I don't want to expand anymore. However, there's so much good that I can do in the world. What should I do? My advice to those people was really start at the end. Imagine all the things and all the good you could do. Imagine what you want. At the beginning, maybe it's a nicer car or a nicer house or better private school for your kids, something that you want for your kids or yourself, and start with that of how you can work to get that. Once you've achieved those things, then it's, hey, how much good can I do for others? Now, it lights me up to be able to see others achieve their dream home, get out of a rental situation, buy a car that they wanted. All those things, that's what fills us up and fills me up over all the other things. We knew where we were going when we started Genesis. We knew we wanted 100 locations. We knew we wanted to be in every single state, 50 states. We knew we wanted to at least be able to have a brick and mortar location in the top 50 most populous cities in the country. That includes the top most populous city in each state. So we really knew what we wanted to do. We knew how we wanted to do it. And that was our end result. And we still haven't gotten to that point. So we're still working towards that. And we realize at the same time that we can't do that alone. So if we want to go far, we need to go together. As a result of that, in every single one of our locations, we do have a small strategic partner, whether that's 5%, 10%, hell, even 40% of a location. Now, there isn't a single person that Brent and I, as owners of the business, cannot fire. We run everything. We have control of everything, and you want to always make sure you keep control of everything because Brent and I have made that mistake in the past. The fastest way to open new locations, we realize, is not building them yourself, but acquiring your big companies, Google, Apple, Microsoft. They expand nowadays through acquisition of companies that have the technology or the people or whatever that they want. So they go buy that company, assimilate them into their company, and all of a sudden they're a bigger and bigger and bigger company. And we realized this about 2 years ago, and we switched heavily from building our own clinics one after another and going slow because we could really only build one clinic a month. And that was like at breakneck pace. However, when we could acquire multiple clinics a month and they're still running. They're still seeing patients. We just slowly make changes to them to fit our Genesis core values, our pillars of weight loss, hormone therapy, men's and women's health, and aesthetics. And we help them grow with our marketing, our website, etc. So this is the absolute fastest way that Genesis has grown is acquisition and specifically acquisition through owner financing. This is where you put little to no down payment on a business and then you pay for the business out of the profits of the business. Now, I know this is super exciting now and everybody wants to do it because there's books out there, buy a business for zero money down, et cetera. So all these idiots are going out there and ruining the ability to buy businesses because they just can't qualify for the financing. You still have to qualify for the financing in order to own or finance a business. That being said, it is and has been one of the greatest ways that we have been able to expand and acquire businesses quickly because we know we can acquire a business for, let's say, 50 to 250 to $350,000 down. These are multi-million dollar businesses. We can go in there, increase the income month to month, and still be able to pay the note on the owner finance while being able to take profits from the clinics every single month to help grow the clinic or buy the next clinic or acquire the next clinic. So acquiring is way faster than building from scratch. Number one, you have patients and clients already there walking in the door. Number two, you have staff already there treating the patients, seeing the patients, etc. And number three, it's a whole heck of a lot easier to build something that's already been built and improve upon it than build something that is from scratch and you're having to wait for contractors, then you're having to wait for the staff, then you're having to hire different staff, etc. Now, don't get me wrong. We have purchased or acquired clinics where we had to fire the staff, turn people over, etc., but they still had a baseline amount of clients that we could market to and keep the revenue up while we were fixing those things. So just because you acquire a clinic does not mean you have to live with their core values or their terrible attitudes. You go in there and you set your core values, you set the tone, you set how it is for your company as a whole, and they will get it. We've done this dozens of times and it has been successful nearly every single time. I would say every single time. Honestly, there hasn't been a clinic that we've acquired where we've had to close afterwards. We've just replaced the staff if they were causing issues or were not good core values fits for our business. When we open a new location, we know it's going to take a while to grow. It's going to take a while to improve and expand. So we try and start with very simple types of treatments that are low overhead cost of goods or no inventory, meaning we buy the treatment after the patient pays for it and gets it sent to the patient, such as GLP-1s or something like that. We focus on those treatments first because we want to get cash flow. We don't buy fancy machinery. We don't buy any of those things that require a lease payment, a loan payment, anything like that up front. Because when you do that, you're cutting your own Achilles tendons before you even try and run the race. You want cash flow coming in and build that cash flow, build the bank account reserves up to make sure you have enough money for a rainy day, a bad month in marketing, a bad month in sales, etc. If you don't do this, you will always be scraping the bottom of the barrel, not being able to make payroll, not being able to grow your business, and chasing your tail over and over and over. When it comes to closing a new location, Brent and I have only in the Genesis brand had to close 2 locations total out of now 40 plus locations. And there were actually 2 locations we had to close, 1 location we kicked out of the company. The 2 locations we had to close, one of them, our business partner, or a small equity partner, was just a bad choice. Sometimes when you have dozens of partners, at least one of them is a bad partner. And this partner would never listen to us. Everything he knew it. It was all his best ideas. Nothing that we said or did mattered, even though we had built multiple clinics that were highly successful before that. As a result, we just walked away. That clinic is actually still standing. It's still there. It's still seeing patients, but it's not a Genesis anymore. So I guess we didn't close that one. The second one we actually closed. It was in Greenwood Village, Colorado, and it was because our staff there was too stretched. They were at 4 different locations, the same staff. It was just stretched. It was paying its bills every single month, but it wasn't growing. It wasn't absolutely succeeding. And as a result of that, we closed it down. It was never losing money. And then the third one is a company in Las Vegas, our third location, that we actually ended up kicking out of our company in general. And that was for core values misalignment. There was issues with undermining our team and our staff. There was issues with undermining the corporation and the C-suite executives in the company. There was issues with hiring of staff members that Brent and I had personally fired for core values issues. So those multiple issues. However, it all came back to the core values. And you have to stand on that. When you're going to open a new location, make sure the core values are drilled into your team. Make sure whoever is going to go over there to run that location lives, breathes, does everything through the core values, in and out, no matter what. Because if they do not live those core values, then you're going to have a whole bunch of people doing whatever the fuck they want, and it will always end bad. So make sure that your staff at that location lives, breathes, does everything they can to be in the core values. And that's on you as a business owner to make sure that you're having consistent meetings with them in order to grow and in order for your new locations to have the same core values and the same feeling of camaraderie, teamwork, and whatever you want to bring to them as your first location that is highly successful. I hope that helps figure out how to manage cash flow when expanding to new locations and some of my caveats as to what you should be looking at when you do scale to new locations.